Welcome again to brandylibrary.tv for a new episode. This time, the Ambassador series with Benjamin Jones. We're talking about rum, but we're talking about some special rum. Ben?
Flavien, thank you very much for having us. We're here to speak about French rum from Martinique.
Beautiful.
Martinique is a very, very long tradition of making fine rum, but quite distinctive in style. As this rum that we produce, we're very famous for, is a style we know as rum agricole.
Mm-hmm.
Agricole rum is a rum that's produced from pure free-run sugarcane juice, whereas most rum that people know are made from molasses. Molasses is the residue, the waste product after sugar production, and it's that dark, sticky, gooey product that how rum was born. But in Martinique, about a little over 100 years ago, Clement started to produce rum from pure sugarcane juice, really as a way to revive the sugar industry. And we start by pressing our own sugarcane to get free-run sugarcane juice.
Mm-hmm.
We ferment a sugarcane-based wine, and we distill that basically to be sort of like an eau de vie from sugarcane.
Yeah, well, it does show to be a rum with more elegance, I'd say, in general, within the world of rum. So the sugarcane, I guess, has a lot to do with it, but the distillation must be quite specific too.
The distillation is actually sort of mimicked directly after the way Armagnac is made. And we use a similar type of distillation method as Armagnac, same type of still, single distillation. And the sugarcane, the fact that it comes from pure sugarcane, the flavor profile is quite distinctive. It's very, very dry, an earthy vegetal rum with sort of floral bouquet aromas, and you get natural flavors of grilled tropical fruit and some banana peel. And
Stop it! I gotta have some.
Yes. Well, the best way to really appreciate is to start with a white rum, not aged.
That's right.
And this is called Premier Cane, what we call Premier Cane in Martinique. But this is actually one of our newer white rums. It is sort of contemporary in style as far as the rest of the white rums you find from Martinique. And it's kind of a tool as far as we start to introduce people here in the U.S. about rum. It's a style that's softer in its approach, and it is very, very open to a wide variety of cocktails.
It smells wonderful. So obviously there's no aging on this.
No, it's a pure single distillation, one-time filtration, and it rests in stainless steel tanks for quite a bit of time just to mellow out. And is distilled. When we distill it very, 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 very low. So we're able to capture the natural aromas and the flavors of the terroir. And I mentioned terroir because that's really the biggest feather in the cap for Martinique. We have a very intense tropical, hot, humid climate in Martinique. It's a volcanic island, so the sugarcane is growing on slopes, so we have excellent drainage, excellent exposure to the tropical sea breezes coming off the Atlantic Ocean, which help cool and ventilate that sugarcane, which is important as it's such a hot, humid climate. And of course, being a volcanic island, we have Montpellier, which, if you remember, erupted in 1902. We have that volcanic soil that really provides that nice, fruity, some spice flavors that come directly out of the soil. So in our distillation, we are very, very careful to make sure we capture the sugarcane, the flavor, the purity of the rum. We always have an expression at Habitation Clement where we're really growing the rum rather than manufacturing the rum.
It's amazing how the French keep that notion of terroir active to the very furthest parts of the world, but it does show.
And with that in Martinique, we have an AOC, like the rest of the French wines and spirits. I always joke with as I'm making my way around the United States that people joke around with me. They say, "Oh, Martinique, that's the island that's half Dutch and half French." And no, I'm sorry, that's another French island, but French territory, but in Martinique, it's 100% French. It's a French island, and we have an AOC. It's the only appellation origine contrôlée in France, but outside of metropolitan France. So exactly the same standards of quality that apply to like Bordeaux and Cognac and Champagne are the same standards of quality we have to oblige by when we're producing our rum. And when you taste the rum, you'll find that in its flavor profile, being so dry and so fruity, that you'll never mistake Martinique rum with any other rum. Like it, you're never going to mistake single malt whiskey with another type of whiskey because the flavor profile is so unique and so distinctive.
Yeah, because in the world of rum, really, in many countries, just about anything can happen within the production. It can be spiced to an excess, it can be sweetened to an excess, so it can be appealing, but when you have a French Caribbean rum in front of you, bearing an AOC, an appellation d'origine contrôlée, then you can definitely smell it.
Yeah, it's our advantage and our disadvantage as we are slowly training the American
a bit more
consumer.
specific, I guess.
Yes, for sure.
But you also have aged rums, and you have something quite unique.
Yes,
with that shrub.
The shrub is a very, very old, ancient Creole tradition in Martinique. I prefer to taste the shrub at the end, just because it's sweeter, and it's quite unique. It's not actually really a rum; it's a rum-based orange liqueur, and it is fashioned after an old, ancient Creole tradition that is very, very popular in the French West Indies, and now here in New York, we see the shrub taking on a completely new life of its own, where it's mixed in so many different cocktails. The Clement VSOP is one of the most popular rums of all the rums coming out of Martinique. This one is one of the most popular in Martinique, in France, and around the world. And so, really, when people talking about Martinique rum, they're searching for Martinique rum. This is the label that is synonymous with Martinique rum. It's a very, very well-rounded, soft, sort of creamier style of Martinique rum, where other Martinique rums that you get in the aged style can be very angular, very fruity, very spicy. This is much softer and more laid back, and is one that someone is coming new to the category. This is the one you want to start them with.
Now, VSOP, this is aged, but it's not aged for too many years.
No.
How can it be already so subtle, so round?
Well, because of that classic Martinique climate, we have a very, very aggressive, accelerated aging climate. We don't have winter. It's 85 degrees Fahrenheit every year.
When are we moving?
All year long, and of course that hot, humid climate, it actually absorbs a lot of alcohol while we're aging. That angel share, it's quite huge. You can take a 4 year. This is 4 years old. It's aged in French Limousin barrique and Richard bourbon barrels from Kentucky. And that is an interesting wood alchemy altogether, because you're getting a lot of different flavor components from the French wood and the American wood, and you also get a lot of the color. The color comes directly from the oak tannins. We're not allowed to modify the flavor or the product of the color according to the AOC.
So natural color?
Natural color, for sure. But one can compare this rum to like a 12-year-old bourbon because of the accelerated angel share, the evaporation from the barrel. Classic sipping rum, but in today's cocktail culture, you're seeing this renaissance of classic cocktails. Now we see a lot of classic cocktails that call for brown spirits. They're using Martinique rum because of that dryness, that earthiness that you get in this style of rum. You see it replacing bourbon and rye and brandy in cocktails, just to give some unique personality. And the shrub is a rum-based orange liqueur.
Now, when you say orange, what do you mean? Because
put your nose there.
All right.
You tell me what you we're using bitter Curacao orange peels and pulp, and then traditional Creole spices from Martinique, and we blend them all together and basically brew this orangey, spicy mixture directly into white rum, and then at the end we add a splash of aged rum, and it's 40 degrees, it's 80 proof. It's in that same category like a Grand Marnier. In Martinique, we sip it just like this, or with some ice if you'd like. Me growing up, I had it over ice cream when I had a job well done.
That's when you were, what, 6, 7 years old?
6, 7 years old.
Very French tradition.
And even now. Syrup, of course, you can make fashionable daiquiris and mojitos, Even people use it to mix gimlets and whiskey drinks and what have you with it. But in Martinique, it's very well known for tea punch. It's an essential ingredient for a classic tea punch that we very, very well known for in Martinique. When you come to Martinique, you come off the plane, you pass through customs, they treat you with a tea punch. And it's a classic drink, very, very simple to make with Martinique white rum, typically white rum, and some syrup and lime. Very, very nice, very refreshing.
Now, for the bartender, for the mixologist who are not quite familiar with this, how is it different from their common simple syrup? How is it?
Well, it's quite different. It's quite different in the way that common simple syrup or any like rock candy syrup, that sugar has already been produced with an industrial process. So you have industrial sugar, and then you mix the water, and then you make the syrup, and it's going to really concentrate the sweetness. Here you can you believe a dry sweetness, a dry syrup, because we're using fresh cane juice, reduced down, very long reduction over low heat. And in this one, specifically this one, this is an old Clement recipe where we add spices with some cinnamon, vanilla, and clove, to name a few. Which obviously, there's depth, there's body, there's balance in this syrup, but gives it a little bit of complexity. So we see a lot of syrup used actually at Christmas time in their cocktails.
It's way more than something real sweet.
No, it's not sweet at all, and that's why mixologists are looking towards it as an alternative sweetener. And when you look at the technical profile of it, it's very, very high glycemic sugar content, low fructose sugar content. So it really provides extra balance and body to cocktails. The mixologists are really having a lot of fun with it. It's nothing we are really focused on. It's something we just offer it as another product that's very popular in Martinique.
It's nice to have that around. Well, should we tell our viewers that they should go and visit
Habitation Clement
facilities?
Of course, come to Habitation Clement. Not only do we produce rum there, we have beautiful cellars you can tour. We have a beautiful tasting room. There's an art gallery, beautiful, beautiful art gallery. We are rotating different artists from the French Caribbean and sometimes even from France. You can tour the house. It's like 17th century Creole architecture. Very, very popular. We have one of the most popular tourist destinations on the island. So people come there, they lose their day, they lose their mind there. Half day, whole day.
That sounds like it's for another episode of RadioLibrary.tv.
Yeah.
Santé.
Okay.